Fact 1. Months that begin on a Sunday will always have a Friday the 13th. Friday the May 13th just be another day to you, but some cultures are very wary of this number for its supposed bad luck. Fact 2. Disneyland serves 2.8 million churros a year. The churro was introduced to South America in the 1500s during the Spanish Inquisition. Around the same time, the Spanish brought cocoa to Europe, which they thickened with cane sugar to make hot chocolate. That probably explains why churros and hot chocolate is still a go-to pairing to this day. Fact 3. Yellow and red stimulates hunger. Picture all the major fast food joints in your country. What does McDonald's, KFC, Popeyes, and Chick-fil-A have in common aside from being fast food giants? All of their logos and branding have elements of red and yellow. This is because red and yellow psychologically stimulate hunger. Fact 4. There are over 100 ways to cook an egg. Eggs are used as a main dish, in baking, and even desserts such as flan and pudding. In fact, the traditional chef's toque had 100 folds to symbolize the mastery of cooking 100 egg dishes. Fact 5. Red is the first color a baby sees. Out of all the colors, red has the longest wavelength. Therefore, red is easier to process for a developing baby's eyes. Grab your nearest baby book to confirm. Fact 6. Mozart once sold more CDs than Beyoncé. This friendly competition between two musical greats may sound like a pipe dream, but it's one of the interesting facts that actually happened. The Universal Music Group released a box set for Mozart's 225th death anniversary in 2016. With 200 discs of Mozart's work in each set, each disc was counted as one CD sold. Get the last box set and listen for yourself. Fact 7. The filmmakers of Saw paid for Jigsaw to have its own seat. Jigsaw the puppet is the face of the grisly Saw franchise. Whether you're a sadist who enjoyed the films or you're one of the people who just looked away, one of the interesting facts about Saw is that Jigsaw once got its own plane seat. James Wan and Lee Whannell paid for Jigsaw to have a seat on a flight from Melbourne to Los Angeles. Imagine how its seatmate felt. Fact 8. Color-blind people have better night vision. Since color-blind people perceive colors differently, they can see camouflage colors that can't be detected by regular eyes. Fact 9. The closed door button on an elevator doesn't do anything. Most elevators in the U.S. are modeled after the Americans with Disabilities Act. Namely, they come with braille and voice prompts. Additionally, these elevators are made to close in 3 seconds. The default time ensures that people with disabilities can board safely. Basically, the button you jab in a rush doesn't even do anything. The actual closed door function can only be accessed by workers and emergency respondents with a key. Fact 10. The Jaws shark is named Bruce. The animatronic shark in the Jaws film franchise is called Bruce. The shark was named after Steven Spielberg's attorney, Bruce Raymer. Fact 11. White chocolate isn't actually chocolate. Aside from the pineapple on pizza debate, white chocolate is one of the most polarizing food items that has divided nations. Whichever one you prefer, the hard truth is that white chocolate isn't really chocolate. It doesn't contain cocoa solids. Instead, white chocolate is made of cocoa butter, milk, and sugar. Fact 12. Scraunched is the longest word with one syllable. In the English language, scraunched is the longest one-syllable word. Other examples are screeched, schlepped, scratched, scrounched, scrunched, and stretched. Fact 13. A lit candle creates 1 million tiny diamonds per second. According to a 2011 study, 1.5 million diamond nanoparticles are created by a candle's flame for each second it burns. However, the nanoparticles are quickly burned away by the flame. Fact 14. Coffee beans can cure bad breath. Coffee beans are a known odor neutralizer. Perfume shops even make customers sniff coffee beans when trying different fragrances. However, you must chew them if you're really going for deodorizing. Drinking coffee can actually worsen your breath through bacteria. Science, right? Fact 15. Flowers grow faster with music. We've all encountered the age-old question of, do plants have feelings? Fellows with a green thumb would definitely argue yes, but it's still being studied in science. However, plants have been shown to respond to certain stimuli in the most interesting ways. For example, playing a lullaby to plants makes them grow faster. However, they tend to wilt or die with heavier music. Plants may or may not have feelings, but they sure are gentle souls. Fact 16. Metrophobia is the fear of poetry. If you don't remember your literature classes as a good time, you may have had this phobia. The prefix metro comes from meter, which refers to the standard structure of a poem. Fact 17. Andy's dad from Toy Story was not animated due to budgeting concerns. We may have seen the rest of Andy's family, but his father remains unseen. Originally, Andy's dad was supposed to make an appearance in the films. However, it takes a lot to render a 3D character, so it was scrapped in the end. Fact 18. The first Morse code message was, "What hath God wrought?" Morse code is a nonverbal language system where one communicates with a series of short and long sounds. The first Morse code message was taken from the Bible passage, Numbers 23:23. It was recorded on a paper tape. Samuel Morse and Alfred Lewis Vail. Fact 19. Crayola's flesh color was renamed peach. Whether you noticed in your crayon boxes through the years or not, one of the interesting facts about this childhood brand is this color rename. Since flesh comes in many different colors, it was deemed racist to say that just one color or skin tone counts as flesh. Fact 20. The average person spends 60% of a conversation talking about themselves. Interestingly, this number reaches 80% when it comes to social media interactions. Fact 21. Blue is the most common favorite color worldwide. According to data from global marketing firms, blue is the world's most common favorite color. It is closely followed by purple. Fact 22. Yellow is the most common highlighter color. Yellow is a preferred highlighter shade because it doesn't leave a shadow on the paper once photocopied. Fact 23. You can survive solely on potatoes and butter. In the right amounts, potatoes and butter could keep a person alive indefinitely. However, potatoes are all carbs and butter is high in cholesterol. You may survive, but you'd probably develop a condition over time. Fact 24. An awkward silence takes 4 seconds to be considered awkward. In the U.S., a 4-second lull in conversation quickly turns into an awkward silence. However, it differs with each culture. Fact 25. Cashews are a fruit. The cashew nuts are actually the seed that grows outside of the fruit. Fact 26. The inventor of the television banned TV from his home. When Philo Farnsworth invented the television in 1927, he intended for it to be a learning instrument that could possibly end wars. However, once TV was commercialized, he came to regret his invention. As a result, he did not allow his household to watch television. Definitely one of the ironic yet interesting facts. Fact 27. 90% of the Earth's organisms are insects. Out of the estimated 1.5 million species of organisms on the planet, insects take up 2/3 of that amount. Fact 28. Back in medieval times, bedrooms weren't private. Aside from absurd, ominous art, we can all agree that the medieval ages was a weird time. During this period, beds were placed in areas where guests could see them. Usually, beds would be placed by a window, so passers-by can admire whoever is sleeping. Sounds like something out of a thriller movie by today's standards. Fact 29. Cookie Monster's real name is Sid. You've heard about villain origin stories, but we bet you haven't seen this one yet. Before eating his first cookie, Cookie Monster was Sid. What this implies has not been confirmed, as well as who he was as Sid. How's that for dark, interesting facts? Fact 30. Cleopatra was not Egyptian. Despite being portrayed as an Egyptian beauty, Cleopatra was actually Greek. You'd best brush up on your history. Fact 31. Newborns can't cry. A baby's tear ducts are not fully developed until 1 to 3 months old. This is why newborn babies scream so loudly, they don't have any other way to communicate with their surroundings. Fact 32. The human brain is the only brain that shrinks with age. Humans are the only animals that get dumb when they get older. Other animals' senses would get dull, but they retain the same brain mass. Fact 33. Bananas don't have seeds. This is one of the interesting facts that can send you into an existential crisis. If bananas don't have seeds, where did they come from? Bananas grow from the small bulbs called suckers that grow from the plant. Once the current crop dies, they can replant these suckers to reap a new plant. Fact 34. A woman once survived falling from an airplane at 33,000 feet high. Vesna Vulovic holds the world record for surviving the highest fall without a parachute. The Serbian flight attendant was the only survivor of the JAT Airways plane crash of 1972. Following the crash, she was in a coma and could not walk for 10 months. She managed to live until the age of 66. Fact 35. There's a fish that can survive out of water for 2 years. The African lungfish can survive out of water by covering its body with a secretion that dries into a cocoon. Fact 36. Baseball fans eat enough hot dogs to stretch from Illinois to Los Angeles. Hot dogs are a signature baseball snack. During MLB season, about 25,500,000 hot dogs and 5,508,900 sausages are sold every year. Lined up end to end, the hot dogs are enough to stretch from Wrigley Field in Chicago, Illinois to Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. Fact 37. 6.5 trillion cigarettes are sold worldwide per year. With this number, that means 18 billion cigarettes are sold per day. Fact 38. Farmers plant tall, dense trees on the edges of farms. The trees provide a barrier from harsh weather and prevent soil erosion. Fact 39. Almost 1.25 million people die in road accidents every year. That makes an average of 3,287 road crash deaths per day. Fact 40. Bad feelings are good for you. Nobody wants to feel sad, afraid, or hurt, but suppressing these negative emotions can hamper us psychologically. It's better for one's mental health to acknowledge and know how to process negative feelings. Fact 41. The lungs are the only organs that can float on water. The shortest explanation is that air is less dense than water. With air in our lungs, we float. Each lung cavity has about 300 million balloon-like structures called alveoli. Proper breathing is crucial to swimming because you'd sink, not to mention drown, without air in your lungs. Fact 42. Your lungs could cover an entire tennis court. The average adult has 300 million bronchi in each lung, which can cover an area of 180 square meters. A tennis court has an area of 195.63 square meters. Our lungs have such a large area because it needs to pump 160 liters of blood per hour. Fact 43. Venus Williams hit the fastest serve in women's tennis at 205 kilometers per hour. If you're having trouble picturing how fast that is, the maximum speed recorded of a person running is 45 kilometers per hour. Fact 44. Every odd number has an E in it. Trying to find an odd number without the letter E would be like attempting to beat God. Fact 45. Wood was the first art medium. The earliest forms of art were found in prehistoric cave drawings dating back to the Stone Age. The drawings were made with charcoal, which is essentially burnt wood. Fact 46. Some bees don't make honey. Out of the 20,000 species of bees on Earth, only 7 make honey. Definitely one of the interesting facts you never thought about. Fact 47. A children's hospital owns the rights to Peter Pan. J. M. Barrie gave the rights to a children's hospital to fund it through the Peter Pan royalties. Fact 48. Clothes can take 40 years to decompose. Depending on the material, the average piece of clothing will take about 40 years before it breaks down fully. Unfortunately, the methane released as well as the dyes and chemicals that can pollute the soil and water. Fact 49. Some hospitals have beer. No, we doubt you can ask for a pint in the ER, but some hospitals do keep a supply of beer for alcoholic patients. This is to avoid possible complications from withdrawals. Fact 50. The oldest customer service complaint was from 4,000 years ago. The world's first customer complaint was found on a clay cuneiform tablet in Mesopotamia. It was written by a customer named Nani who complained of bad copper ingots.